Colleges and universities across the country now facing backlash from both sides over the swell of pro-Palestinian campus protests, anti-Semitism, many schools cracking down as those reports of anti-Semitism grow. At Columbia University in New York, negotiations continuing with students. They gave them another 48 hours to set up a pro-Palestinian encampment of smaller size without outside agitators, arguably. The deadline extended now to tomorrow to dismantle it. All of it very reminiscent on different issues. Of course, it was Vietnam, of Columbia's 1968 protests against that war. One woman who had a front row seat to the turbulence of the 1960s is presidential historian Doris Kearns Goodwin, who, as a White House fellow, worked directly with President Lyndon Johnson, later helping him with his memoir when he left the White House. She takes us through all of it and so much more in her new book, An Unfinished Love Story, a personal history of the 1960s. Doris Kearns Goodwin joins me now. This is just amazing because we've all read everything that you've written about, the Roosevelts, about Lincoln, all of your other histories. This is so personal. And I did not know so much about it. And you went back into the archives that you and your husband had and did the research. But it's also a book about the 60s in so many ways.
Yeah, it was such an extraordinary decade, and he had saved everything, 300 boxes over all 40 years, but he didn't want to open them because the 60s ended so sadly with the deaths of Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy, the riots, campus violence. Finally, he turns 80, and he said, I've been waiting and waiting for this to happen. And it meant that we relived the decade from beginning to end. We promised we would not know what happened later, so that you wouldn't be sad at the beginning when you start with JFK growing into power. You go to LBJ and the Great Society and voting rights, and you finally get up to Bobby Kennedy and Eugene McCarthy. And it was a different time from now. I mean, their kids were powered by that conviction they could make a difference. Think about all those people who marched against segregation, against the denial of the vote, the civil rights movement, and it worked. I mean, tumbling down discriminatory systems of segregation and voting rights. So there was a feeling of belief in the power. And then even with the anti-war movement, they got Lyndon Johnson to agree on March 31st to negotiate and to stop the bombing, and he pulled out of the race. So it's much more complicated and nuanced today. But this was a time I wish young people could look back at and take some hope from the fact that if you do it right, it can make a difference.
And your husband was with JFK. He was in that inner circle with JFK and then Bobby Kennedy with him when the assassination happened. And you had your roots in the Johnson White House as a White House fellow. And there was that tension between LBJ after the assassination of JFK and the Attorney General, the brother. A lot of tension, which ended up, resulting in a presidential campaign, which LBJ had always feared would happen.
And it really was a tension that was through our marriage as well, because he was so loyal to the Kennedys. That excitement of being on the Kennedy plane in 1960, a very small prop plane when you're part of that team, and being with him in the White House, and, of course, being in the White House the night his body was brought back, and then becoming so close to Jackie and to Robert Kennedy. So that always through his life, he was the JFK guy. I was loyal to Lyndon Johnson because I worked with him, as you say, helped him on his memoirs. It was the foundation of my presidential history career because of him. So we would argue all the time. I would say, yeah, but JFK didn't get any of those programs through. It was only LBJ who did. Yeah, but he'd say JFK inspired the country. We finally came to, of course, what we should have known all along emotionally, which is that neither one would have been as great without the other. They were braided together in their legacies. One inspired and one made things happen.
I mean, I think that's the unique perspective. Not only in your marriage, obviously, that extraordinary marriage, but in this book about that relationship.
Yeah, I really do think that when you look at the decade, first of all, I don't think Kennedy would have ever become president if he hadn't made LBJ his vice president.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, the moonshot he inspired, but it was LBJ who was able to get all the work done to make it happen. I ended up with respect for both of them. I mean, think about that decade. We've got large leaders. Many people want to go into public life. Young people feel a trust in the government. Obviously, the escalating war took some of that trust away and the credibility. But during the heyday of that, it was so great to be young and be alive. I was an intern in '63. I was at that March on Washington. I'll never forget what that experience was like, to be carrying a sign, Protestants, Jews, and Catholics unite for civil rights. There was a feeling you were making the country better. And you really were. When you think of what the Great Society did, voting rights, civil rights, immigration reform, NPR, PBS, aid to the cities, pollution control. Incredible.
And we've seen so much of it come apart. The Peace Corps, importantly, that's part of my family's service, and the feeling of, volunteerism. We have a whole cohort of people in the Senate now aging out who were inspired by that, participated in that, were in either, volunteerism. We have Jay Rockefeller and other, great senators in the past who are all part of that. Moynihan bridging that gap. I mean, just think about that.
So true. I mean, it really was a signature of the Kennedy years. And my husband was there at the moment when it was born at the University of Michigan, when all that JFK did was to say, how many of you would be willing to go to Ghana for a couple years? 3-minute speech. That was it. He was just overtired and was going to go to sleep, but 10,000 kids were waiting. The kids took up the challenge. They got a pledge from 1,000 people on the University of Michigan campus that they would join this non-existent Peace Corps, and then it's born. And it was a symbol of the era, I think.
And I was just thinking also, I recently looked at a clip from LBJ's commencement address at Howard University talking about the importance of affirmative action and how you can't just expect people to all of a sudden, okay, you've got the right to vote, all of a sudden you've got the right to sit at a lunch counter, and now expect them to be able to thrive in society. They have to have help to catch up.
And what he understood, there was a metaphor. You can't take a person to the beginning of a race and expect them to compete when they've been structurally held back for all that time. And another extraordinary thing he said was that men and women are born with the same range of abilities, but they're stunted or stretched by the neighborhood you grow up in, the family you live with, and the school you go to. So it was an attempt, really, to understand that social and economic problems have to follow legal challenges. As you say, the victories were made legally, but it was much more to find the full blessings of life to people who were hurt by poverty or race.
Well, Doris Kearns Goodwin, an unfinished love story. It's unfinished in so many ways, but it's just fabulous. Congratulations.
I am so glad that you're reading it.
It's so romantic.
That, too. About America as well as my husband.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.